My child, before you ask why you cannot sleep, ask yourself a different question. What if this night is not an accident? What if the reason your eyes remain open is not because I have forgotten you, but because I have gently called your heart to be still before me? You may think this is just another restless night. You may tell yourself, I'm getting older. This is simply what happens. Many people do. They blame the passing years, the changing body, or the worries that naturally come with age. There is truth in that. Your body grows tired, and life leaves its marks, but not every sleepless night begins in the body. Some begin much deeper in places no doctor can see. There are moments when I allow the noise of the day to fade so that your soul can finally speak. Before we go any further, if you believe I led you here tonight for a reason, let this be your quiet act of faith. Gently press, like as a way of saying, Lord, I'm listening. And if you desire to keep receiving these moments with me, subscribe and continue walking this journey of faith. Now stay with me, because what I am about to reveal may explain why your heart has been restless for so long. During the daylight hours, you stay busy. You solve problems, care for others, answer phone calls, watch the news, fill your mind with endless distractions. Yet when the house becomes quiet and the world falls asleep, something inside you begins to whisper. Questions you avoided return. Memories you buried gently rise to the surface. Longings you have ignored begin knocking at the door of your heart. Do not be afraid of that silence. I am often closer than you realize in those quiet moments. Many people believe the answer to every restless night is simply to fall asleep faster. They search for another pill, another television program, another distraction to quiet their minds. There is nothing wrong with seeking healthy rest, but understand this, my child. A sleeping body does not always mean a peaceful soul. You can close your eyes and still carry fear. You can sleep for 8 hours and wake up just as exhausted inside. The world tries to quiet your mind. I desire to heal your heart. That is the difference. You have spent years carrying burdens you were never created to carry alone. Worries about your children, regrets over words you wish you could take back, grief for someone whose chair still feels empty, fear about tomorrow, questions that have remained unanswered for years. My child, before we continue, how are you doing today? If you feel comfortable, let me know in the comments. This family of faith will be praying for you. These burdens do not disappear simply because the lights go out. They wait patiently until the night becomes quiet enough to remind you they are still there. The greatest mistake many people make is believing the problem is only physical. They say, if I could just sleep better, everything would be fine. But sometimes the deeper pain is not found in your body. It is hidden within your heart. And I know every hidden place. I know every tear you never allowed anyone else to see. I know every silent prayer you whispered when no one was listening. I know the nights when you smiled in front of others while quietly breaking inside. Nothing about your pain has ever been invisible to me. Think of a child who wakes frightened during a storm. The child is not truly searching for a different house or a different bed. The child is searching for the reassuring presence of a loving parent. Once the parent sits beside the bed, fear begins to lose its power, even though the storm outside has not yet stopped. In the same way, I am not always trying to remove every storm the moment it appears. Sometimes I first come to sit beside your heart so you will remember that you never faced the darkness alone. And before we go on, tell me where you're listening from tonight. Share your city, your state, or your country in the comments. It is beautiful to see this family of faith gathering from all around the world. So tonight, do not rush to escape this moment. Do not fear the silence. Instead, let it become a place where you meet me again. Bring me your restless thoughts instead of hiding them. Bring me your questions instead of pretending you are strong. Bring me your weariness instead of carrying it by yourself. Because the night you have been trying to escape may become the very place where your healing begins. And as you open your heart, you may discover something even more important. The sleepless nights are not always caused by what is happening around you. Often, they are stirred by wounds deep within you, wounds that have quietly spoken for years without anyone hearing them. Let me show you those hidden places, because only what is brought into my light can truly be healed. If you're listening tonight because your heart needs peace, comment 1. May this community keep you in prayer. My child, there are wounds you no longer speak about, yet they still speak to you every single night. You may have convinced yourself that those chapters of your life are over. Years have passed. Your hair has turned gray. The people around you believe you've moved on. Even you have tried to believe it. But time alone does not heal every wound. Some hurts simply grow quieter during the day, only to find their voice again when the night becomes still. You may still miss the husband or wife whose laughter once filled your home. Their favorite chair remains, but they are gone. You tell everyone you're doing fine, yet there are evenings when the silence feels louder than any conversation. Perhaps your heart still aches because of a broken marriage. The papers were signed years ago, but the questions never completely disappeared. You wonder if you could have said something different, loved a little better, or held on a little longer. Or maybe your greatest sorrow has nothing to do with a spouse, but with a son or daughter who no longer calls. Holidays come and go. Birthdays pass. You keep hoping the phone will ring, yet the silence continues. No one sees how deeply that hurts except me. Some of you carry regrets that no one knows about, a decision you wish you could undo, words you wish you had never spoken, opportunities you let slip away because fear convinced you to wait. Even now, those memories return without invitation, whispering that it is too late. Others quietly carry guilt from sins committed long ago. You have asked for forgiveness, yet you still struggle to forgive yourself. Every time the memory returns, you wonder if I truly released you from it. And then there is the quiet burden of growing older. You notice your strength changing. Your body moves more slowly than it once did. Friends leave this world one by one. Sometimes you wonder if your best years are behind you or if anyone still truly needs you. My child, I know every one of these hidden wounds. You may hide them from your family. You may hide them from your friends. You may even try to hide them from yourself. But you have never hidden them from me. People often see your smile. I see the tears you wipe away before anyone walks into the room. People hear you say, "I'm fine." I hear the sigh that escapes your heart when no one else is listening. This is why I tell you not to confuse silence with healing. Many people believe that if they stop talking about the pain, eventually it will disappear. So they bury their emotions beneath responsibilities, church activities, work, or constant busyness. They convince themselves that being strong means never crying, never admitting weakness, and never asking for help. But buried pain does not become healed pain. It simply waits. It waits for a quiet night. It waits for an unexpected memory. It waits for a familiar song. It waits until your heart becomes still enough to feel it again. Think about a splinter hidden beneath the skin. You can ignore it for days, even weeks. From the outside, everything appears normal. Yet every time something brushes against that spot, the pain returns. The problem was never the touch. The problem was the splinter that remained beneath the surface. In the same way, many of the tears you shed today are not caused only by today's circumstances. They are touching wounds that have never fully healed. So do not be ashamed if your heart still hurts. Do not believe the lie that your faith is weak because you still grieve. Even my faithful servants wept. Even David cried out. Even Jeremiah lamented. Even my son shed tears. Healing does not begin when you pretend you are strong. Healing begins when you are honest enough to place your broken heart into my hands. So tonight, stop carrying what I have been asking you to surrender. Tell me what hurts. Speak the names you have been afraid to mention. Bring me the memories you keep locked away. I already know them, but I want you to know that you no longer have to carry them alone. Because once your heart becomes honest before me, another question begins to rise. You may wonder why, even after all your prayers, there are seasons when my voice seems so quiet. Let me show you why. My silence has never meant my absence. My child, I know there have been moments when you whispered, "Lord, where are you?" You prayed with all your heart, but the answer did not come. You waited for the phone call that never arrived. You hoped the doctor's report would change. You asked me to restore a relationship, to open a door, to remove the pain, and instead, all you heard was silence. Perhaps you wondered if I had stopped listening. Perhaps you questioned whether your prayers were reaching heaven at all. If you have ever felt that way, know this. You are not alone. Many of my faithful children have stood where you are standing now. David cried out, "How long, O Lord?" Job searched for me in the middle of his suffering. Even Elijah, after witnessing great miracles, sat beneath a broom tree feeling forgotten and exhausted. They were not abandoned, and neither are you. My silence has never been proof of my absence. Think of a loving father teaching his little child to take those first uncertain steps. At first, he holds the child's hands tightly. Then, for just a moment, he lets go, not because he wants the child to fall, but because he believes the child is stronger than the child realizes. The father does not leave the room. He stands close enough to catch the child if needed. The child may think, "Father has let go of me," but the father is quietly watching every step. That is often what my silence is like. I have not walked away from you. I have simply invited your faith to take another step. There are seasons when I speak through clear answers. There are other seasons when I speak through quiet trust. The world believes that love must always be loud. I teach that love is often revealed in faithful presence. Silence does not mean I am distant. Silence does not mean I have forgotten your name. Silence does not mean I no longer care. Sometimes, my greatest work happens beneath the surface, where your eyes cannot yet see it. Consider a seed buried deep in the ground. From above, it appears as though nothing is happening. Day after day, the soil looks exactly the same, but beneath the surface, roots are quietly growing before the first green leaf ever appears. If someone judged the seed too soon, they would wrongly conclude that nothing was alive. Your faith often grows in exactly the same way. Long before you can see the answer, I am strengthening roots that will help you stand when stronger winds come. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that if they cannot hear my voice, I must no longer love them. My child, do not measure my love by the volume of my voice. Measure it by the cross. The cross has never changed. My promises have never changed. My heart toward you has never changed. When you cannot hear me, remember what I have already spoken. Hold tightly to my word instead of your worries. Trust my character instead of your feelings. Feelings change like the weather. My faithfulness never does. I know waiting is not easy. Waiting stretches the heart. It tests your patience. It asks you to believe before you can see. Yet every season of waiting gives you an opportunity to discover that your confidence rests not in immediate answers, but in the one who holds tomorrow. Faith grows strongest where certainty ends. It grows when you choose to trust, even without visible proof. It grows when you whisper, "Lord, I still believe," through tears instead of triumph. And every time you choose trust over fear, your heart becomes a little stronger than it was yesterday. So if my voice seems quiet tonight, do not run from me. Come even closer. Sit with me. Listen not only with your ears, but with your heart. Because there is another reason many people struggle to recognize my voice. It is not always that I am silent. Sometimes there are simply too many other voices speaking at the same time. Let me help you discover which voice you have truly been listening to all along. My child, you have grown weary, not because life has been difficult, but because you have been fighting battles I never asked you to fight. Some of those battles have stolen your sleep. Some have stolen your joy. Some have quietly stolen years of your life. Yet they were never yours to carry. You spend hours replaying conversations that ended long ago. You wonder what you should have said differently. You revisit mistakes you made 10, 20, even 30 years ago, hoping somehow you can change an ending that has already been written. But tell me, my child, has worrying about yesterday ever changed yesterday? The past can teach you, but it cannot be relived. Still, many of my children remain trapped there, carrying guilt that I have already forgiven and shame that I have already nailed to the cross. Others are exhausted because they spend their lives fighting the opinions of people. You worry about what others think of your decisions. You wonder whether you have disappointed your family. You fear being misunderstood, rejected, or forgotten. Even now, you sometimes measure your worth by someone else's approval. But I never asked you to live for the applause of people. I called you to walk faithfully with me. The voices around you will always change. Some will praise you today and criticize you tomorrow. If your peace depends on their opinions, your heart will never truly rest. Then there is another battle that quietly steals your strength, the future. You imagine problems that have not happened. You fear illnesses that have not been diagnosed. You prepare yourself for conversations that may never take place. You lie awake creating storms that do not yet exist. How many tears have been shed over tomorrows that never came? My child, fear has a way of convincing you to fight shadows instead of reality. It asks you to carry burdens before they arrive. But I have never asked you to live in tomorrow. I have given you enough grace for today. Remember how I provided manna for my people in the wilderness. They were instructed to gather only enough for one day at a time. Whenever they tried to store more out of fear, it spoiled. Why? Because I was teaching them something greater than survival. I was teaching them trust. Many of you are trying to store tomorrow's strength before tomorrow arrives. You cannot. The grace you need for tomorrow will arrive tomorrow. The strength you need for tomorrow's battle will be waiting when tomorrow comes. Today, I simply ask you to walk with me. One of the greatest mistakes you make is believing that if you can control everything, you can protect yourself from pain. So you try to predict every outcome. You plan every possibility. You carry responsibilities that belong only to me. Control feels safe for a moment, but eventually it becomes another prison. You were never created to carry the weight of the entire future on your shoulders. Those shoulders were made to rest beneath my care. Think about a traveler carrying an oversized suitcase through a long airport. At first, determination keeps them moving, but after enough time, every step becomes heavier. Their hands ache. Their back grows tired. Then someone points to the rolling wheels attached to the suitcase wheels that had been there all along. The burden did not become lighter. The traveler simply stopped carrying it the wrong way. My child, many of the burdens exhausting you today are not heavier than before. You have simply been carrying them without me. Bring me your regrets. Bring me the opinions that still wound you. Bring me the fears about tomorrow. Lay them at my feet. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is giving over. It is not weakness. It is trust. It is saying, Lord, I cannot control everything, but I know you can. And when you finally release what has never belonged in your hands, you create room for something far greater, my peace. Yet there is one more reason many hearts remain restless. Even after laying down old burdens, many people still struggle because they cannot recognize which voice they are following. Some voices speak fear, some speak shame, some speak regret, but only one voice speaks life. Let me help you recognize the difference. My child, not every voice you hear in the quiet of the night is my voice. When the world grows silent and your thoughts begin to race, it is easy to believe that every thought entering your mind must be true. But I want you to understand something that can change the way you live. Just because a thought enters your mind does not mean it comes from me. Many of my children spend years believing lies simply because they have heard them for so long. Tonight, I want to help you recognize the difference. There is the voice of fear. Fear always rushes you. It whispers. Something terrible is about to happen. It tells you to expect the worst. It convinces you that you must solve every problem before morning comes. Fear keeps your heart racing and your mind restless. But that is not how I speak. When I guide my children, I bring peace even before I bring answers. I do not lead you through panic. I lead you through trust. Then there is the voice of shame. Shame constantly reminds you of your failures. It says, after everything you've done, God could never truly love you. It replays old mistakes over and over again until you begin to believe they define your identity. But listen carefully, my child. Shame points to your past. I point to your future. Shame condemns. Restore. When I bring conviction, it is never to destroy you. It is to draw you closer so I can heal what has been broken. There is also the voice of regret. Regret lives with its eyes fixed behind it. If only. I should have. Why didn't I? It keeps reopening doors that have already been closed. It convinces you that your best opportunities have already passed. Yet I have never asked you to live in yesterday. I am the God who redeems what seems lost. I can bring purpose from pain and hope from ashes. What regret calls an ending, I often use as the beginning of a new chapter. And then there is my spirit. My voice is different. I do not shout over every other voice. I often speak gently, because I desire a listening heart rather than a frightened one. My voice brings clarity instead of confusion, hope instead of despair, peace instead of panic. Even when I correct you, my love remains unmistakable. Think about the story of Elijah. He expected to find me in the powerful wind, then in the earthquake, then in the fire. But I chose to speak through a gentle whisper. Why? Because I was teaching him, and I am teaching you, that my greatest work is often done in quiet hearts that are willing to listen. Imagine walking through a crowded airport. Hundreds of voices surround you. Announcements echo from every direction. People hurry past. Yet a little child can instantly recognize the voice of a loving parent calling their name, not because that voice is the loudest, but because the child knows it. That is how I want you to know. My voice. Not by volume, by relationship. One of the greatest mistakes you can make is believing every thought that enters your mind. Not every fear deserves your attention. Not every memory deserves your agreement. Not every accusation deserves your belief. Ask yourself this simple question. Does this thought draw me closer to God's peace or deeper into fear? If it pulls you away from hope, if it fills you with condemnation, if it leaves you believing you are beyond my mercy, it is not my voice. My child, learning to recognize my voice is not something that happens in a single night. It grows little by little as you spend time with me. The more you know my heart through my word, the easier it becomes to recognize when another voice is trying to imitate mine. So the next time fear begins speaking, do not answer it immediately. Come to me first. Sit quietly in my presence. Open my word. Let my truth become louder than your worries. Because when you learn to discern my voice, you begin to experience a peace the world cannot explain. And that peace will prepare your heart for the next lesson I want to teach you. For while you have been asking me to change your circumstances, I have been doing something even greater. I have been changing you. My child, I know what you have been praying for. I know the prayer you have whispered again and again. Lord, change this situation. Lord, remove this burden. Lord, make everything better. And I want you to know something that may surprise you. I do care about your circumstances. I see every struggle. I see every doctor's appointment that fills you with uncertainty. I see the empty chair at your dinner table. I see the financial pressure that keeps you awake. I see the relationship you wish could be restored. Nothing about your life is hidden from me. But listen carefully, my child. If I changed every circumstance without first healing your heart, the same fears would simply return in a different form. That is why my greatest miracles often begin inside you before they appear around you. You ask me to calm the storm. Sometimes I begin by calming the heart that is standing in the storm. Think about Joseph. For years he prayed from places no one wanted to be. A pit, a slave's house, a prison. I could have removed him from every difficult situation immediately, but I was doing something greater. Before Joseph could lead a nation, I was shaping a heart that could forgive his brothers instead of seeking revenge. The palace was not his greatest miracle. The transformed heart was. Think about Job. He lost almost everything that gave him security. His questions were real. His tears were real. His pain was real. Yet through that painful journey, Job came to know me more deeply than he ever had before. His circumstances eventually changed, but the greatest change happened within him. His faith became stronger than his suffering. Then remember Paul? He pleaded with me to remove the thorn in his flesh. 3 times he asked. 3 times I answered differently than he expected. I did not remove the thorn. Instead, I gave him grace that was greater than the pain. Why? Because I wanted Paul to discover that my strength shines brightest where human strength reaches its limit. My child, I know you long for miracles. There is nothing wrong with praying for healing. Nothing wrong with asking me to open doors. Nothing wrong with believing for restoration. Keep praying. Keep hoping. Keep trusting. But do not overlook the miracle I may already be working inside you. You ask for a different life. I desire to give you a different heart. Because a changed circumstance may bless you for a season, but a transformed heart will carry you through every season. The world often measures miracles by what can be seen. A disease disappears. A debt is paid. A relationship is restored. And those are beautiful gifts. But heaven also celebrates the miracle of a heart that learns to forgive, a soul that chooses peace instead of bitterness, a weary believer who continues trusting me even before seeing the answer. Those miracles may not make the evening news, but they change eternity. One of the greatest mistakes my children make is believing that happiness depends entirely upon changed circumstances. So they wait. I'll have peace when this problem is gone. I'll have joy when life becomes easier. I'll trust God after everything works out. But my peace was never meant to depend on perfect circumstances. It was meant to flow from my presence. Think of a tree planted beside a river. It does not survive because there are no dry seasons. It survives because its roots reach a source deeper than the changing weather. That is the kind of life I desire for you. Not a life without storms. A life with roots so deep in me that even storms cannot steal your peace. Transformation is the greatest miracle because it changes not only how you live, but also how you see. The same trial that once filled you with fear becomes an opportunity to trust. The same uncertainty that once overwhelmed you becomes another reminder that I remain faithful. My child, I am not merely preparing better circumstances for your future. I am preparing you for whatever your future holds. And as your heart begins to change, you will discover something unexpected. The peace you have been searching for has never been something you could earn. It has always been a gift waiting to be received from me. My child, if I asked you one simple question tonight, how would you answer? What do you believe must happen before you can finally have peace? For some, the answer comes immediately. If I could just pay off my debts, if my health would improve, if my son or daughter would come back home, if my marriage could be restored, if I knew what tomorrow held, then, finally, I could rest. Finally, I could breathe. Finally, I could have peace. My child, I understand why you feel that way. Those desires are not wrong. I know the burden of unpaid bills. I know the fear that comes with an unexpected diagnosis. I know the ache of praying for children who seem far from me. I know the loneliness of waiting for answers that never seem to come. I have never looked at your pain with indifference. But I want to show you something that many people spend their entire lives missing. You believe peace is waiting on the other side of your problems. I tell you that true peace is waiting in my presence. There is a difference. The world says, when everything is under control, then you will have peace. But how often is everything truly under control? One problem disappears, and another one arrives. One prayer is answered, and a new concern takes its place. If your peace depends upon a problem-free life, your heart will always be searching for something that cannot be found on this earth. Think about the Sea of Galilee. When the disciples crossed the water with me, a violent storm suddenly appeared. The waves crashed against the boat. The wind howled with frightening power. Experienced fishermen believed they were about to die. Yet where was I? I was resting. The storm surrounded me, but it did not rule me. The disciples believed peace would come only after the storm stopped. I wanted them to discover that my presence was greater than the storm itself. The greatest miracle that night was not only that the wind obeyed my voice, it was that they learned who was in the boat with them. Many of my children are still waiting for every wave to disappear before they trust me. But if you only trust me after the storm, you will never experience the peace that carries you through the storm. That is the peace I long to give you. Imagine an elderly woman sitting beside the hospital bed of her husband after decades of marriage. The machines fill the room with quiet sounds. She does not know what tomorrow will bring. She cannot change the doctor's report. She cannot control the outcome. Yet she quietly opens her Bible, bows her head, and whispers, "Lord, you are here." The room has not changed. The illness has not disappeared, but something inside her begins to settle. Why? Because my presence changes what circumstances cannot. Or think of a grandfather praying every night for a son who has wandered far from home. For years he sees no change. There are no dramatic answers, no sudden miracles. Yet every morning he chooses to place that burden into my hands once again instead of carrying it himself. That is not weakness. That is peace rooted in trust. One of the greatest mistakes people make is confusing peace with safety. They believe that if every risk disappears, they will finally feel secure. But complete safety has never existed in this broken world. Even healthy bodies grow older. Even successful plans sometimes fail. Even strong families experience seasons of pain. If your confidence rests only in what can be taken away, then fear will always find a way into your heart. My child, I never promised you a life without uncertainty. I promised you that I would never leave you nor forsake you. Notice the difference. I did not promise the absence of storms. I promised my presence within them. That is why my peace cannot be earned. You cannot purchase it. You cannot achieve it. You cannot create it by solving enough problems. It is my gift to every heart willing to trust me. Peace is not the reward for finally getting life under control. Peace is the fruit of placing your life into my hands. Think of a little child riding in a car late at night. The child does not know the road. The child cannot read the map. The child has no idea how far the journey is. Yet the child sleeps peacefully. Why? Not because the child understands the road, but because the child trusts the one driving. That is the kind of trust I desire for you. You do not have to understand every chapter before you can rest. You only need to know the author who is writing your story. So tonight, stop chasing peace as though it were hidden somewhere in tomorrow. Stop believing that one more answered prayer, one more financial breakthrough, or one more perfect circumstance will finally satisfy your restless heart. Come closer to me. Sit quietly in my presence. Let my promises become louder than your fears, because I have never asked you to carry peace. I have asked you to receive it. My presence is your peace. And when your heart begins to rest in that truth, something beautiful starts to happen. You begin to realize that your life is not over. In fact, some of the greatest purposes I have prepared for you may still be waiting just ahead. My child, I know there have been moments when you quietly wondered if your best years are behind you. You look in the mirror and notice changes that were not there before. Your body grows tired more easily. Some dreams never happened. Some friends are no longer here. The house that was once full of laughter has become quieter than you ever imagined. Sometimes you even ask yourself, Lord, what purpose could I possibly have now? If that question has ever crossed your mind, listen carefully. That thought did not come from me. The world has taught you to measure life by youth, strength, speed, and success. It celebrates those who are young. It applauds those who are beginning. It often forgets those who have walked faithfully for decades. But my kingdom has never worked that way. The world counts birthdays. I count faithfulness. The world measures ability. I measure obedience. The world asks how much time you have left. I ask what you are willing to do with the time I have given you today. Never believe the lie that growing older means becoming less valuable. If that were true, I would never have called Moses at the age of 80. Think about Moses for a moment. For 40 years he lived in Pharaoh's palace. For another 40 years he cared for sheep in the wilderness. Most people would have looked at his life and said, his opportunity is past. But I saw something completely different. I was not preparing him for retirement. I was preparing him for his greatest assignment. The years that seemed wasted were actually years of preparation. When the time was right, I called him, not because he was young enough, but because he had finally learned to depend on me instead of himself. Now think about Caleb. At 85 years old, he did not ask for the easiest place to live. He asked for the mountain. He believed my promises had not expired simply because he had grown older. His body had aged, but his faith had not. That is the kind of heart I desire for you. Or remember Anna. Many people would have overlooked her. She was an elderly widow who spent her days worshiping, praying, and waiting in the temple. The world may have seen an old woman living a quiet life. I saw a faithful servant whose eyes would be among the first to recognize the promised Messiah. Then there was Simeon. For years he waited patiently for my promise. Others may have thought he had waited too long. But when the appointed day arrived, he held the infant Jesus in his arms. Imagine that. A lifetime of waiting fulfilled in a single moment because he remained faithful. My child, I have never been in a hurry, and I have never been late. Many of the most beautiful chapters in my story begin after people believe the story is nearly over. Perhaps you think your greatest opportunity has already passed. Perhaps illness has slowed you down. Perhaps retirement has made you wonder whether you are still useful. Perhaps your children have built lives of their own, and you are asking what comes next. Do not confuse a new season with the end of your purpose. A tree does not stop giving because it has grown older. Its deepest roots often produce its sweetest fruit. The same is true for you. The wisdom you have gained through suffering, the compassion you have learned through loss, the patience developed through years of waiting. These are treasures that younger generations desperately need. One conversation filled with grace may change someone's life. One prayer offered with sincere faith may strengthen a discouraged heart. One act of kindness may become an answer to someone else's prayer. Never underestimate what I can do through a willing heart. One of the greatest mistakes my children make is believing they have become too old for me to use. Age has never limited my power. Only unbelief limits what you are willing to receive. Do not compare yourself to who you were 20 years ago. Compare yourself to the person I am still shaping today. Your calling may look different now, but different does not mean smaller. Some of the greatest ministries happen quietly, encouraging a lonely neighbor, praying faithfully for your family, sharing your testimony with someone who has lost hope, teaching your grandchildren to trust me, living with peace in a world full of fear. These things may never make headlines, but heaven sees every one of them. Purpose is not measured by applause. Purpose is measured by obedience. My child, purpose has no retirement. As long as I have given you breath, I have given you purpose. As long as your heart continues to beat, your story is still being written. Do not spend today's strength mourning yesterday's opportunities. Look up. I am not finished with you. In fact, some of the most meaningful work I will ever do through your life may still lie ahead. But before you can fully embrace that purpose, there is one final burden I want you to release. For too long, you have carried pain that I never intended you to carry alone. Tonight, it is time to place it into my hands. My child, you have carried enough. Longer than anyone realizes. Longer than you ever expected. There are burdens resting upon your heart that no one else can see. You have learned how to smile while carrying them. You have learned how to answer, "I'm doing fine," even when your soul feels exhausted. Others admire your strength, but they do not know how heavy your heart has become. I know. I have watched every silent battle. I have counted every tear that never reached another person's eyes. I have heard every prayer that was whispered instead of spoken aloud. Tonight, I am asking you to do something you may not have done for many years. Stop carrying alone what I never asked you to carry alone. Perhaps the heaviest burden is guilt, not because I have refused to forgive you, but because you have refused to believe that my forgiveness is enough. You continue replaying old failures, wondering if you could have been a better husband, a better wife, a better parent, a better friend. There are conversations you wish you could have again, words you wish you had never spoken, decisions you wish you could undo. You ask yourself, what if I had made a different choice? My child, you cannot rewrite yesterday, but I can redeem it. Remember Peter, he denied me 3 times. Not once, not twice, 3 times. Can you imagine the weight of that guilt? Every time the rooster crowed, the memory must have returned. Yet after my resurrection, I did not come looking to shame Peter. I came looking to restore him. I did not ask Peter to spend the rest of his life proving himself worthy. I simply asked him, "Do you love me?" Then I gave him purpose again. That is my heart toward you. Your failure is not greater than my mercy. Your past is not stronger than my grace. Then there is grief. Some grief never completely disappears. The world often expects you to move on. People tell you that enough time has passed. But love leaves memories that time cannot erase. Perhaps you still reach for the phone before remembering the person you wanted to call is already with me. Perhaps certain holidays still hurt. Perhaps certain songs still bring tears. My child, do not apologize for loving deeply. Grief is often love that no longer has an earthly place to go. I have never been offended by your tears. Remember how I stood outside Lazarus's tomb. I knew resurrection was only moments away, yet I still wept. Why? Because I entered the sorrow of those I loved. I do the same for you. I do not stand far away, asking you to stop crying. I stand beside you. I cry with you. Then I gently remind you that grief will never have the final word. Loneliness is another burden many carry in silence. Some of you live in homes that once echoed with conversation, but now sit quietly day after day. Others are surrounded by people yet still feel unseen. Loneliness is not always the absence of people. Sometimes it is the feeling that no one truly understands your heart. But I do. Before anyone else knew your story, I knew it. Before anyone misunderstood you, I understood you. Before anyone rejected you, I chose you. There's never been one moment when you were truly alone. Even during the nights when you believed no one cared, I remained beside you. Then there is fear. Fear has stolen enough from you. It has stolen sleep. It has stolen joy. It has stolen moments you should have enjoyed with your family. It whispers, what if tomorrow is worse? What if the test results are bad? What if you lose everything? What if no one is there when you need them? Fear always asks questions it cannot answer. I ask only one. Will you trust me? Think about a little child learning to swim. At first, the child clings tightly to the edge of the pool. The instructor says, let go, I'm right here. The child hesitates, not because the instructor is untrustworthy, but because letting go feels frightening. Eventually, the child loosens their grip. For the first time, they discover they were being held all along. My child, many of you are still holding tightly to fear because you are afraid of what surrender might require. But surrender is not falling into emptiness. It is falling into my hands. One of the greatest misunderstandings is believing that being strong means carrying everything by yourself. You have heard people say, stay strong. Don't let them see you cry. You've got this. But I never asked you to pretend. Strength is not hiding your pain. Strength is bringing your pain to me. The strongest prayer is often the simplest one. Lord, I can't carry this anymore. Do you remember what I said? Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I did not say, come to me after you've fixed yourself. I did not say, come to me when you stop hurting. I said, come, exactly as you are, with the guilt, with the grief, with the loneliness, with the fear. Bring it all. People may comfort you for a little while. They may offer kind words. They may sit beside you during difficult days. And those are beautiful gifts. But even the people who love you most cannot reach the deepest places of your soul. Only I can restore what pain has broken. Only I can bring peace where fear has ruled. Only I can heal wounds that have remained hidden for decades. Healing does not begin the moment your circumstances change. Healing begins the moment you stop resisting my invitation. Healing begins when surrender begins. So tonight, lay every burden before me. Lay down the guilt you have carried for years. Lay down the grief that still feels too heavy. Lay down the loneliness that has convinced you no one understands. Lay down the fears about tomorrow. You were never created to carry them alone. You were created to walk with me. Take a slow breath. Open your hands, if only for this moment. Imagine placing every burden into mine. Nothing you surrender to me is ever wasted. I know exactly what to do with every broken piece of your heart. And as you release what has weighed you down for so long, something beautiful begins to happen. Your soul grows quieter. Your breathing becomes calmer. Your heart begins to remember a truth it almost forgot. You are safe with me. Now, before this night comes to an end, there is one final gift I want to leave with you. Not another burden, not another lesson, but a blessing of peace that you can carry into tomorrow, knowing that I will continue watching over you while you rest. My child, as this quiet time together begins to draw to a close, I want you to remember one truth above all the others. I never promised that tomorrow would be free from storms. I never promised that every question would be answered before morning. I never promised that every pain would disappear overnight. But I have made you a promise that is even greater. You will never walk into tomorrow alone. No matter what waits for you when the sun rises, I will already be there. Before you open your eyes, I will be watching over you. Before you take your first step, my hand will still be guiding you. Before fear has a chance to whisper its first lie, my truth will remain unchanged. You have spent so much of your life trying to prepare yourself for every possible storm. But storms have never surprised me. Nothing you face tomorrow will catch me by surprise. I already know every conversation, every appointment, every challenge, every blessing, every tear, every victory. And because I know what tomorrow holds, you do not have to carry tomorrow tonight. Leave tomorrow in my hands. Tonight belongs to rest. Remember the words of Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Notice what David did not say. He did not say there would be no valley. He did not say there would be no shadows. He did not even say there would be no danger. He found peace because of one simple truth. I am with you. That has always been the difference. Not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of your shepherd. Think again about the night on the Sea of Galilee. The disciples believed they were moments away from death. The waves crashed over the boat. The wind roared louder than their own voices. Panic spread from one heart to another. Yet I was sleeping, not because I ignored the storm, not because I did not care, but because I knew the storm could never overcome my Father's purpose. When the disciples finally woke me, I calmed the wind with only a few words. But before I calmed the storm around them, I wanted to reveal the storm within them. Fear had become greater than faith. How often has the same thing happened in your own life? The situation may be real, the pain may be real, but fear begins telling a story far greater than reality itself. My child, the storm around you does not determine your peace. The one beside you does. Remember Elijah. After witnessing one of the greatest miracles in Scripture, he found himself exhausted beneath a broom tree. He was so weary that he believed he had nothing left to give. He asked to die. Yet I did not rebuke him. I did not tell him to have stronger faith. First, I gave him rest. I provided food. I allowed him to sleep. Only after restoring his strength did I gently speak to his heart. There are times when the holiest thing you can do is simply rest in my care. You were never created to carry endless pressure without stopping. Even your body reminds you that you need rest. Sleep is one of my gifts. It is a quiet reminder that you do not have to keep the universe together while your eyes are closed. I never sleep. You can. That is trust. Perhaps tonight your mind still wants to solve every problem before morning comes. Perhaps your heart still wants one more answer before it is willing to rest. But my child, if I gave you every answer today, you would still need me tomorrow. What your soul truly longs for is not complete certainty. It longs for my presence. That is why I keep inviting you closer, not merely to receive answers, but to know me more deeply. As you have listened tonight, I pray you have begun to understand something beautiful. Your guilt does not define you. Your grief will not destroy you. Your loneliness has never meant you were abandoned. Your fears do not write your future. I do, and because I hold your future, you are free to release your burdens tonight. So, before you close your eyes, I invite you to do one final thing. Do not simply listen to these words. Pray with me. Open your heart completely. Bring every burden that still feels too heavy to carry. Bring every unanswered question, every hidden wound, every fear about tomorrow. Lay them before me now. Let us pray together. My child, wherever you are right now, take a slow, gentle breath. There is no need to hurry. You do not have to pretend anymore. You do not have to hide your tears. You do not have to carry another burden by yourself. Simply be still with me. If you are able, close your eyes for a moment and allow your heart to become quiet. Let us pray together. Heavenly Father, tonight I come before you exactly as I am. I do not come pretending to be stronger than I really am. I do not come with perfect answers. I do not come because I have everything together. I come because I need you. Lord, you know every part of my story. You know the chapters I celebrate. You also know the pages I wish I could erase. Nothing about my life has ever been hidden from you. You know the burdens I have carried for years, the guilt I have struggled to release, the grief that still visits my heart when certain memories return, the loneliness I have tried to hide behind a smile, the fears that quietly wake me during the night. Father, tonight I place every one of those burdens into your loving hands. I no longer want to carry what only you were meant to carry. Teach me to trust you one day at a time. Forgive me for the moments when fear became louder than faith. Forgive me for believing the lies that told me I was forgotten. Forgive me for trying to control what belongs only to you. Thank you for never turning away from me. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your mercy that is new every morning. Thank you for loving me, even on the days when I struggled to love myself. Lord Jesus, please heal the places inside my heart that no one else can see. Heal the wounds left by disappointment. Heal the memories that still bring tears. Heal the words spoken over my life that I have believed for far too long. Replace every lie with your truth. Where fear has lived, let your peace take its place. Where shame has remained, let your forgiveness set me free. Where bitterness has taken root, teach me how to forgive. Not because what happened was acceptable, but because I refuse to let yesterday continue controlling tomorrow. Lord, I pray for those who are carrying grief tonight. Wrap them in your loving presence. Comfort those who miss someone they deeply love. Remind them that you are near to the brokenhearted. For those waiting on medical results, be their peace. For those facing financial uncertainty, be their provider. For those praying for children or grandchildren who have wandered far from you, give them hope that refuses to give up. Strengthen their faith while they wait. For those sitting in quiet homes, feeling forgotten, remind them that they are never alone. You are with them in every room. You are beside them in every sleepless night. You are faithful in every season. Father, help me stop living in tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. Teach me to receive today's grace. Help me remember that you have already gone before me. Nothing I will face tomorrow is greater than your power. Nothing can separate me from your love. Not failure, not sickness, not disappointment, not loneliness, not even death itself, because my life is safely held in your hands. Lord, tonight I also pray for my family. Bless those I love. Protect them. Guide them. Draw every wandering heart closer to you. Heal broken relationships according to your perfect will. Give us hearts that are quick to forgive and slow to become bitter. Let our homes become places where your peace is felt. And Father, if there is someone listening tonight who feels completely hopeless, someone who believes life has passed them by, someone who wonders whether you still have a purpose for them, please remind them, even now, that their story is not over. Breathe fresh hope into weary hearts. Renew tired minds. Restore broken spirits. Lift every burden that has become too heavy to carry. Fill every empty place with your presence. Teach us that true peace is not found in perfect circumstances. It is found in you. Help us leave every unanswered question at your feet. Help us trust you, even when we cannot see the entire path ahead. Like a child resting safely in a loving Father's arms, teach us to rest without fear. Tonight, I choose to release my worries. I release my regrets. I release my anxiety. I release my need to control everything. I surrender my future into your hands. I surrender my family into your hands. I surrender my health into your hands. I surrender every hidden pain into your hands, because your hands are far stronger than mine. And now, Father, as this day comes to an end, let your peace settle over every heart listening to this prayer. May every anxious mind become still. May every troubled heart find rest. May every home be filled with your presence. May every person listening remember that they are deeply loved, completely known, and never forgotten. While they sleep, watch over them. Send your angels to guard them. Give them peaceful rest. Renew their strength for tomorrow. And when morning comes, let them wake with fresh hope, renewed faith, and the quiet confidence that you are already walking before them. My child, rest now. You do not have to carry today's burdens into tomorrow. I am watching over you. I am holding you. I am making a way, even where you cannot yet see one. Sleep in my peace. Wake in my grace. Walk in my love. And remember this, not only tonight, but every day that follows. I have never left you. I will never forsake you. I am with you always. Amen.